In case you were wondering what my little corner looks like, I am not kidding when I say I'm literally buried by yarn in here. Oh my gosh, it's time for a day.
Hello, happy Tuesday. I'm Jen. I am the maker behind Space for Sunflowers, and welcome back or welcome to my crafty business channel where we talk about all things knitting, crochet, handmaking, being an in-person pop-up vendor, etc. This week, I am very excited to fill you in with some details of the first vendor networking event that I went to last week. It was hosted by a local pop-up organizer who also used to be a vendor before they started organizing pop-up events on their own, and it was really great, as well as I have a yarn haul because I ran out to Michael's on a whim. On a whim, and I will get to that. Also, just pattern palooza. Oh my gosh, I have been buying patterns like crazy as I plan out my calendar for this year and get organized and set up for my first market in 2026, which is rapidly approaching at the end of this month. So I only have one more weekend to prepare before it's market time once again. So grab a craft or a beverage or a snack or all three, and let's talk about some behind the scenes business things with my craft market business this week. Introing. So first up, I was thrilled to see that one of my favorite markets organizers from last year, I only did one of their markets, but they quickly became like top of the list, one of my absolute favorite organizers to work with because they were just so amazing, has started a series of vendor networking events here in Raleigh. And I, first of all, love this idea. It's amazing. Vendors helping other vendors is just a great idea. Small businesses, when I was in, I had a freelance website and web development business before starting this journey, also before going back to corporate America and then starting this journey. That's a whole nother story, but I used to do a lot of networking events when I was a freelance web design and developer. And this was my first like networking event since I have started my crochet business. And I don't know why I'm playing with my hair. And I really loved it. I was a little bit, I was excited. I'm not even gonna say I was a little bit anything. I was nothing but excited when I saw this event come up in my feed. It was called the Vendor Collective, and it's a whole series of events that this organizer plans to do. The organizer is Community Pop-Ups NC. I will link their social media down below because they are amazing and you should check them out if you are a vendor and you're in this area. Highly recommend this series of events for networking and whatnot. And beyond just networking, it's an event that has a topic each time. So they had an agenda, they had panelists and questions, and they were prepared and ready for us to all just dive in and discuss like the topic of the day, which in this case was filling out our calendars and applying to markets and what organizers look for in these applications, which was really great. I did take just tiny little segment of footage, so I will show that. I'll show that right now. Okay, so I didn't want to take too much footage because I don't want to take away from like the in-person event and like, you know, share everything. It's not my place, but I was excited to be there. I was excited to talk to the panelists, listen to the panelists. I didn't really get a chance to talk to them so much after the event. A bunch of people were talking to them already, and then it was a busy week last week. I'm not gonna lie, it was busy. So I didn't linger too much after the event was over, but beforehand we got there early, we got snacks, we sat and we chatted. I was at a table I went with my friend Christine, What's Up Cupcake Crafts. Go follow her if you haven't. If you're following me and you haven't already followed her, I don't know what you're doing because she's got it together. So please go follow her. I was also there with YGG Threads. Again, go follow her. She knows what she's doing. Please. Yeah, so we were there together. We had met up. Christine and I had gone together. We met up with some other vendors from the area. We all sat together, we chatted, we had some snacks, and then the panel started, which was really great. Like, the organizers were so good at having these questions that like really do matter. And they made a big point of getting into it of like, we're not here as your market organizers. Don't think that like we're judging you and your application based on your participation in these events. Like, we really just want to gather vendors together and talk vendor to vendor about what it's like running a business and running a business in this way, because it is different from other businesses. Like, we don't have storefronts. We have either curated experiences and get into retail spaces that are owned by other people. And that was one of the panelists, actually. The studio, I need to fill out my application. I've had it on my to-do list. I just need to get out there and get some pictures done of the things that I want to put in my application. Side quest over. Yeah, so it was really good, and it was really validating, to be honest. As a newer vendor in this space, I've had 1 full year of participating in pop-up markets. This is my 2nd year. I have learned a lot of things, and hearing other seasoned vendors who have been through the same, I don't want to say like the trenches, because it's not that serious. I mean, it could be, but it's not. But just sort of in the uncertain phases of your business where you're like, which markets do I apply to? What should I be looking for in a good market? What are the red flags of a market? Like, honestly, when we're just looking at these things online and filling out applications, like, how do we figure out it's a good fit for us? So we had a good discussion about that, which was fantastic. And it was both educational and validating, because it was refreshing and reassuring to hear that, like, yes, we all start from the same place. We all have times where we have no idea what we're doing. And yeah, there is some trial and error that goes into this. And it is just reassuring, because it can feel a little bit like, oh, you're putting yourself out there and things aren't going well and things are building very slowly, but that is all part of the process, and that is how business builds. I do know that a little bit from having had prior small businesses before, but just hearing it from other people, it can really be beneficial. So that was great. Also, just hearing about the cadence of like how to fill out your calendar, which is what we talked about this time. The tools we use to fill out our calendars. Some people track on paper, some people track digitally, some people just apply to everything and throw spaghetti at the wall and see if it sticks. And it all works for different ways for different people. So that was great. I had a great time. I'm looking forward to more of these events. I will be going to as many of them as I possibly can. Just because I got tremendous value out of it, and just talking with other vendors and connecting with other vendors. Yeah, we do that when we're at the markets, but it's always so disjointed, because it's between the quiet moments when you're set up and the market hasn't started yet, or if it's a downtime between flows of people, or, you know, and they could be busy while you're having downtime. You could be busy while they're having downtime. So as much as we try to like connect and talk to each other when we're at the events, it was nice to just have a space to relax and talk and connect as vendors. It was great. Loved it. Highly recommend, if you're in the area, to join us. Them, I say us because I'm like, I'm going, but join them at their next event. If you're not in the area looking for an event like this, or starting an event like this, I think it's great. Like, kudos to community pop-ups, because this was a great idea and I loved it. Absolutely loved it. What else? I sort of teased like Pattern Palooza. All my patterns I've printed out are like far, but I have been working on quite a lot of things in this past week. Really getting down into the crunch of getting ready for this anime market at the end of the month. I don't want to share everything that's been made, but I am going to share a couple of things because, yeah, I've been busy working on stuff. I've got some WIPs, things that are WIPs. I've been replenishing my flying dragons. These are only a couple. These are by Avalon Crochet. Don't have any wings, but I've done a variety of colors. I actually don't have any eyes either, but I've done a variety of colors of those. I've even played with, oh my God, oh my goodness. I am actually going to talk about this a little bit. I have so many things. We'll talk about those in a minute, but I need to air this because in the spirit of validation, I need to know that other people struggle as hard as I do with this. So making these little tiny flying dragons from Avalon Crochet, I have a pattern for a Fury Dragon that I've been working on the past few markets, but I have noticed that people, when they're looking for dragons, they're often looking for dragons in their size and their budget, what they can accommodate, and it's not always the Fury Dragon. So the Fury Dragon pattern I use is by Mari's Stuffies, and I sell it for $24. It's a quick make. It's low sew. You really just sew the head onto the body and everything else, and I think the wings. Yeah, the head onto the body and the wings. And everything else you just make as you go. And it's really cute. I don't have any right here, but it's $24. Not everybody's looking for a $24 plushie, and I get that. So I'm trying to have a few options, not lean into it as much as I do when it's the dedicated Fury Dragon pattern, but have a few options at different price points. So I did a mini flying dragon in the Fury Dragon style. I added a few more baubles to his head to sort of give him a crest look, added the ridged wings, and then of course the tail, the iconic tail. And this is the part that I just want to get off my chest. Does anybody else struggle, and I mean really struggle, with remembering what side is red and what side is black? And this is what I mean. So I made this Fury Dragon inspired flying dragon. And then I also have Serendipity Designs pocket dragons. So I've done Fury Dragon inspired pocket dragons as well. And you can look. I don't know if anybody, and I hope I don't hope you struggle as much as I do, but I also kind of hope I'm not the only one struggling with this. What side is the red fin supposed to go on? Well, I did look it up because my kids were making fun of me and they were like, Mom, come on, it's this side. And so we looked it up. It changed sides in the movies. The first two movies had it on, I don't even know which side, one side, and then the third movie has it on the other side. So I'm like, well, no wonder I can't remember what side the red fin goes on for these Fury Dragons, because DreamWorks can't even remember what side the red fin goes on for these Fury Dragons. So this is me putting out into the universe, A, this is a struggle and the struggle is real, but B, also, I'm not going to worry so much anymore about the side of the tail, because if somebody calls me out for being on the wrong side, I can just be like, I'm being representative of the entire franchise. Sometimes it's on this side, sometimes it's on this side. Pick your Fury Dragon. End rant. Does anyone else struggle with this? Like, the amount of time I have spent unable to figure out what side this one little tail fin is supposed to go on is baffling. Now, Mari's Stuffies pattern does tell you what side it goes on, so that's helpful. But if I'm making a different pattern and I'm just like, oh, I just happen to want to make like a Fury Dragon color version of it, No, it could be on any side, and you know what? That's fine. It is what it is. It's all fan art. It's all influenced by. It's all good in the end. So anyway, that's the whips. I've got my little flying dragons. They're flightless at the moment and blind, but that's okay. They will have eyes. I mean, they could be blind, but they have eyes. They will have wings, and they will be ready for market. The next thing that I wanted to talk about with all of these patterns, actually, before I get into that, let's go over the Michaels haul a little bit, because that leads into the next thing. So I have been buying all of these patterns that I've been seeing. It started like over the holidays, people were having sales, and I was like, oh yeah, let's get caught up on patterns. And then there were some other patterns that came across my feed, like, I don't know if you've seen it, but by Casey Jo Designs. She has this pop star tiger girl pattern where it is it's a K-pop Demon Hunters inspired pattern, but instead of being just straight like this is a character from K-pop Demon Hunters, it has elements of it. So the girl looks like Rumi, the main girl with the purple hair, but she's wearing like an oversized blue tiger sweatshirt, which is so cute. And I was like, I have all of these skin tone Premier basic chenilles that I had bought last year, planning to make dolls, never made the dolls. I'm like, I also have the purple that would be perfect for the hair. What I don't have is blue. So I got on Michaels and I was looking online because I don't trust Michaels to have the things in store when I get there, even if they say they're in stock. I also struggle with my local Michaels because, I mean, I live in an area where there's like probably 10 within driving distance, but the one closest to me never puts the yarn on the shelves. Their in stock is always like anyone's guess because it could be in stock on the website and it's nowhere to be found in store. It could be out of stock on the website, but there's like a million of them sitting on the shelves. So it's really like rolling the dice. It's a gamble to go to that Michaels. I don't trust it. So I went online and I was like, I'm going to reserve yarn because if I find it, I'm looking for specific colors. If I find it there, great. If I have to go to a different Michaels, I want to know that in advance. So I'm not running around to the 10 different drivable Michaels within where I live and getting skunked. So I went to Michaels. I reserved the yarn. This is also going to be, yarn home. This is also going to be like my love letter for Loops and Threads. Posh Pearl, which I had never really leaned into before, but oh my God, I love it. I love it. I'm a Posh Pearl devotee now. So I did have to use some of this already. But I am going to look at the colors and then hold on the label and then hold it up for the ones that I've taken off. So first things first, I found this light blue, which is great because I had been using Bernat Velvet for making my Derpy Tigers. My Derpy Tiger. And I've been like frustrated with it because I'm like, the black doesn't show up on this navy blue. It's really soft and it's really pretty, but it's not quite right. It's not the right blue. And if it's not going to be the right blue, I at least want it to be a blue that shows off the differences in color. Cause like, look at that. Like if you get it up close, you can see he's got his stripes and he's got his little mouth and his tongue sticking out. And please don't judge me on those eyes. It was an experiment. It didn't go well. It is what it is. But that's, God, he looks so cute. He reminds me of my kitten. So yeah, so the blue has always bothered me. I've used it because I have it, but I've been wanting to get a different blue. I did make a giant derby recently out of this color in Bernat Brights, but it's way too big. Like this size is massive. He's a show-stopping piece. Is a showpiece, basically. So just by sheer size. I don't want all my derbies to be that giant. I do want to keep them that smaller size. So I was on the hunt for blues for derby. So I found this light blue, which is just Posh Pearl blue, and it looks really nice, light blue. I love it. But then I also, and it looked darker on the website. I will say it did look darker on the website, but I found this bright blue. So if we put them together, it is a little bit too bright in light. Well, it's a lot bit too bright in light. However, you can see the difference between the light blue and the bright blue. And you can definitely see the difference between the light blue, the bright blue, and I'm just gonna pick up somebody else, black. So I put those together. I was a little bit disappointed when I picked it up because I didn't see it in person, and on the website, it definitely looked darker. It definitely looked darker, unless they gave me the wrong color, because I could have sworn the color I bought was called Blue Raspberry. Huh. And I didn't realize it until just this moment when I saw the label and it says bright blue. I could have sworn the one I bought was called Blue Raspberry. So maybe that's why I ended up with the wrong color. Maybe they substituted it and didn't even think about it. I'm gonna have to look that up. That's gonna bug me now. Anyway, that is going to become my new derby, my go-to for derby. Burnette Velvet is also very sheddy. Posh Pearl so far has not been sheddy. So, and I love a 5. I love a weight 5 yarn. So my hands are happy. I like the colors. It's clear. I mean, it's like glowing derby. It's like a glowing derby blue. So I'm gonna work with it. I think it'll work. I'm pretty pleased with it. The next thing that I got, I had this pink. This I had before. I put it in the bag because I've been working on it. So I had this pink, and it's a little bit more muted than I tend to use. It's called Rose Hip, but it's a nice pink, a nice light pink for this color. So then I went out and I also got the bright pink. Oh. Maybe I'm just crazy.
I'm going to stop you right there, me. This is Future Jen editing, and I looked at what was going on with this. So Michaels names the colors differently on their site than on the labels. That's what happened.
Because the bright pink is called Raspberry. I mean, that's hugely possible. So Raspberry, which is a nice super bright pink. I have made some and shared some crochet roses before, but then I saw this pink online and I was like, these would make lovely roses. They would also work great for rose turtles. And this wouldn't require me to like lean into the extra large size again for the turtles. So I like that. I like that bright pink. I only got one of those because I believe that's what they had. And then the last one that I got, I tried to get green, but they didn't have it apparently because they didn't give me any. So the last thing that I got was bright yellow. I got a yellow. So I'm building up my weight 5 yarn stash. I had yellow previously, or gold previously, in Burnette Velvet. Again, with the Burnette Velvet, I love it. It's sheddy. It's hard to sew. If I'm going to be making amigurumi, I want yarn that is easy to work with. This fits the bill. It really does. The Posh Pearl really does fit the bill. So that was the Michaels haul. And then because my green, I got skunked on green. I guess they didn't have any. They said they had 3. I think I wanted all 3 of them. So they didn't give them to me. I stopped by Dollar Tree on the way home and I grabbed some Premier Just Chenille in green just so I would have a green in that size. So I did pick up some green in the Just Chenille. This is Deep Emerald. I also use these, so this will be great to finish off more rose keychains. I also use these if I run out of Wizard House mystery boxes for the snakes. I like this color better than the silvery green that I had been using. So, goodness gracious. So the original color for the snakes was this color, and this is the Burnette Velvet Emerald. This is more of a fresh green, but it's still a nice, vibrant green. And I like that better than this, which is what I had previously pivoted to, again, because it is what I have. Nope. Which is more silver. So yeah, I definitely like this one better for the snakes than this. All of that inspired me to finally work my way through my list of patterns and bust out one that I had bookmarked ages ago by Crochet by Empanada. Crochet by Empanada. It's a free Instagram pattern. I will link it below. But this, I'll show the first one first. The heart cow. Look how cute he is. I love him. Now this one was my first heart cow. And the head's too small. You can see the head's too small. My kids love him. I will probably still bring him bring him to market and see. But the head is a little bit too small, and that bothered me. This one was made in, the white is Premier Basic Chenille. It took forever to make. Forever. I didn't realize it with this first one because I was so disjointed in making it. Like I sat down, I'd make a couple legs, then I would go do something else, then I'd make the other legs, then I'd go do something else, I'd make, like it was in bits and pieces, so I wasn't really paying attention to how long it took me to make said cow, and the head was too small. So, Premier Basics Chenille for the white and for the tan, and then the pink is that rose hip loops and threads Posh Pearl that I just showed that I had previously bought. It's super cute. It's supposed to be, when you construct it, and I had changed one thing with the construction, so you're supposed to, you make the limbs first, sew them in, or crochet them into the body as you work the body up, and then you're supposed to then finish off the body, leaving the neck open, and make the head separately, and then attach the head to the body. I didn't do that. I followed the head pattern in reverse so that I could, because the head is made top to bottom. So top down, I guess is what we call that. I followed it in reverse so that I was building it up from the neck and just did the first row in the front loop only of the body. So that was my modification. And I liked how that worked in terms of construction, but you can see something went wrong with the head because it is way too small. So the second one I made 3. And that was my list. That was my goal, was to make 3. So I'm glad. So the second one I made, my goodness, look how cute. Look at the difference. This one's head is the correct size. I paid way better attention to my stitch count. I sat down and made this cow all in one go with the little hearts, and I just sporadically chose where to put the hearts. They ended up in kind of the same spots, similar spots on both cows, although this one has one on his leg. This one I put on his chest or his side. Oh, I have one on his chest and one on his side. That's right, on the front. And of course, one on the forehead. So lots of little hearts on the cow. But this was the second one. And I paid way more attention to the stitch count and the time. And I was realizing that the stitch count was off on this one because Basic Chenille was dang near impossible to work with. I also used different hook sizes. So this one I used a 4mm hook. This one I used a 5mm hook. I've been experimenting with hook sizes as well since I have figured out the magic of doing crochet with yarn under as opposed to wrapping the second. So you go through the stitch, you pull up your loop by going under, the yarn is under the hook, and then wrapping the final wrap also under the hook. I had been doing yarn under, and then the second one was going over the hook. So I've been experimenting with that. It makes the stitches tighter. It makes the stitches more even and more predictable on where things will line up, which is great. However, I was finding that that combination with amigurumi figure basic chenille, all of it, it just wasn't working. So I really had to work with the stitch counts to get the head the right size on this one. But you can see, like, it's about the same. I mean, if you take the head out of the equation, but if you compare limb to limb, like, they're pretty much the same size, even though this one was a 4mm hook and this one was a 5mm hook. But I did find that the hooves laid flatter with the 5mm hook as I was constructing it. I liked that. These I have to, they're a little more rounded. So I liked that about the 5mm hook. And yeah, as I said, I paid way better attention to the stitch count on the head. So I got the head right. But then I was like making this and realizing this is taking a lot of time for a doll, toy, stuffy that is relatively small. Like, I'm going to be limited on what price I can set to these adorable little cows. And I can't be spending upwards of, you know, 2.5 hours putting them together because of the size that they are. I mean, where's a can? They're pretty small. It's about the size of a soda can. So a good size, but not a big size. So then I looked at all the Posh Pearl that I had just bought, and I was like, maybe it's the yarn. So then on the third one, I pulled out the Rose Hip Posh Pearl and the Raspberry for the darker pink, and I made this cow. And my suspicions were confirmed. It is the yarn. So Premier Basics Ball is a great yarn, looks fantastic. The colors are amazing. I love it. Takes really long time to make something like this, whereas the Posh Pearl, it all came together relatively quickly, and my hand wasn't dying, and my stitch count was easier to, my stitch count was correct. The reason why this wasn't correct is because visually, and I mean, I wasn't sitting in like a well-lit window. I was sitting under a light in my living room watching TV while I was making this, to be honest. It was hard to see the definition between the stitches. In the end result, that gives you more of what you want, to be honest. I mean, sometimes, but I like the look of it because it sort of just blends together as one like fabric, versus this where the stitches are more defined. However, to make something of this size, it's a little bit bigger in the Posh Pearl. Took less time. This took less time than this. But how cute are they? My trio of cows. I love them. So yeah, if you need a Valentine's Day market make, I loved this one because it wasn't explicitly Valentine's Day in terms of like, it wasn't, it's hearts. It is hearts, but it's hearts on a cow. Like, it's so cute. I love it. Love it, love it. So that was that. So then, after I went to the store and I bought the yarn to make my derbies, I then got the bug about all of the skin tone colors that I have in the Premier Basics chenille. It's not basic chenille, it's just chenille. I keep getting that confused. Basics is the one you get at Dollar Tree. Just chenille is the one that comes in the cones. It's just chenille. My brain is not braining today. It was a 3-day weekend. Anyway, just chenille. I have all these cones of skin tones. I have 3 different skin tones, and I wanted to make something out of it. So I was like, well, now I have the blue, and I bought extra blue. I have no reason not to get this Pop Star Tiger doll. So she is also a WIP in progress. How cute. I love her. I love her so much. I've got a stitch marker back here because this blue, you can see the construction pretty well of this because this is before most of the embellishments, but we're going to extend the sweatshirt on the bottom and then add a pocket on the front. She's got her little tiger stripes on her arms. She's got her long braid, which I have not done hair pretty much ever. My braid's not as long as the one in the pattern. Hers goes all the way, is like the length of the doll. Mine was a little bit shorter, but
I did the right number of stitches. I guess if I make it again, which I hope to, I hope she sells and I can make more of her, but I'll do longer. So you make the cap and then you make these long chains that you then single crochet up. I'll make my chains longer so that I have more to work with, and then you braid it. Like, look at her braid. I love it. I also have just massive braid envy of, I want a voluminous braid, but I have fine hair, so it's never gonna happen. I can live vicariously through the doll though. But anyway, super cute. Still working on her. Look at her little eyebrows. I was so proud of the eyes too. I embroidered the eyes. I did have derpy eyes, and I debated putting the derpy eyes on her and just having them be not, you know, pupils pointing everywhere. I debated putting the derpy eyes, sinker eyes on her, because I looked it up and Rumi's eyes are brown or gold, depending on if she's like demon power mode or whatever. So I debated that, but then I was like, no, I want to do the embroidered eyes. I really do love the embroidered eyes, and I have the browns. So you can see I picked like a medium brown for her eyes, and I just love it. I did the little eyelashes and then gave her her eyebrows. She's got a little nose. I didn't do face shaping on her. I could add that after. But yeah, I've got some details left to do. Oh, and there's a hood. There's going to be a hood that attaches. So I still have to do the hood, finish the sweatshirt, and then add the embellishment details. But she is coming along so cute. And I'm really happy I decided to lean into this, because I debated it and I was like, it's a showpiece. Do I really want to take on another showpiece right now? But I'm glad I did, because with this anime market coming up, I will now have two nice showpieces. I will have the big derpy, two nice anime showpieces. True, they're from the same thing, but I'll have a nice big derpy tiger, as well as this lovely pop star diva who I am in love with. And honestly, if she doesn't sell, I wouldn't be terribly disappointed, except that I don't get to make her again. I'd love to make more of her. So yeah, so that's it. That's the update this week. Extra chaos, but a shorter video for me, so that's good. Yeah. Next week, I will be diving into all of the market prep that I am doing behind the scenes for this anime market next, not this weekend, but at the end of next week, I'll have my anime market. So next week's video will be all about the market prep for that. I have lots to show off. I haven't even started to think about what my booth is going to look like, since it's going to be indoors. That means no tent, no hanging. So things are going to change. Things are going to be a little bit different, but it's still a 10 by 10 space. So I'll have to think about that. I'm sure it won't be too different from what I usually do. So anyway, we'll dive all into that next week. If you like this video, please hit the like button. Thank you so much. If you want to see more content from me, you can subscribe, and I will see you all next week.